Hey guys, you know, you can't have a Comic Con without having some. You can't have something like San Diego Comic Con without having some controversy or some newsworthy items besides the ones I talked about in the previous video. Now, we all know that the Batman the Killing Joke is coming to Blu ray and DVD on August 2nd, but we also know that a week from that release date, it will also be premiering in theaters. For my region, it'll be on my birthday, which unfortunately I have to work on, as well as it'll be on the day after, but it'll be in other regions. For example, on my birthday, it'll be shown at the times of 7:30 and 10 in Modesto and Turlock and places like that. Well, the next day it'll be shown in Tracy, which is not that far from here, but still, uh, I don't know if I'll be able to. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see it in theaters, so I'll probably be picking it up anyway. Um, but even before its release date, it's already caused some controversy. I mean, yes, it was premiered to a lot of people that attended the San Diego Comic Con and the DC Comics panel there, so a DC Comics Animated Universe panel. So it was, like I said, it was premiered there, and I guess slowly but surely it's being premiered across the country in selected theaters for about two showings. I'm sure Angry Joe will probably see it and do an review and spoilers discussion on it, maybe even talk about the topic at hand here. Um, but the controversy that it's starting is the fact that we all knew that when they announced that The Killing Joke was getting an animated adaptation, that we were hoping it would break the barrier. That it would break the barrier. That it would basically cross the line and be the first DC animated universe movie to get an R rating. We were hoping for that because a lot of animated films, either theatrical, direct to video, television, or whatever, most of them for quite some time have had a PG or PG-13 rating. We know that the exception upcoming next month or in a few weeks by Seth Rogen, Sausage Party, that's a big exception, and who knows how that's going to turn out. But anything that involves like DC or Marvel or Disney or whoever, probably not Disney, but still Disney, DC or Marvel. Anytime they've had an animated movie adaptation of something, it's always had a PG-13 rating. So we were always hoping and pining for something that was going to break that barrier, break that pattern. And Killing Joke finally did that. Now, when word got out that not a majority, but a portion of it would kind of expand on Barbara Gordon, Batgirl's story and her relationship with Batman, Bruce Wayne, and her conflicts of whether or not she wants to give up crime fighting or keep doing it or whatever. From what Bruce Timm has put out there, Bruce Timm and the others that have worked on this movie put out there, we never stopped to think there had to be more than just one reason why The Killing Joke got the R rating. We 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 didn't stop to think that it couldn't have just been the adapting of certain graphic scenes that were in the comic, that you're going to see in the movie or be adapted into the movie. It couldn't just be that. We knew it had to be something else. And fortunately or unfortunately to some, we found out exactly one of the reasons it got its R rating. Basically, as part of Barbara's, part of the, basically part of the expansion story for Batgirl and Barbara and her relationship with Batman, Bruce Wayne. There is a scene, and I'm sure I'm not giving much away because everybody's pretty much seen this, heard about it, talked about it. There is a scene in the film where her and Bruce Wayne, Batman, have sex. Yeah, there is a sex scene in the movie. Now, I'm not. Now, let me make this clear. From what I understand, it is an off-screen sex that they have, but it's basically implied because if you look at the GIF or the leaked GIF or video that's put out there of this scene, basically Barbara gets into an argument, from what I understand, ends up kissing Batman, Bruce, if you will, and it kind of gets very passionate to the point. And when she pulls up, she takes the top of her outfit off, and then it's implied right then and there that they have sex. So, for one, I can understand maybe the outrage a little bit by folks. The fact that this never took place in The Killing Joke. Like, okay, it's one, like, okay, one, it's like, it's one thing to expand on Barbara's storyline, and when it relates to The Killing Joke. It's one thing to do that, and that's perfectly fine. The Killing Joke, from what I understand, is not that long of a graphic novel or story arc in Batman lore, but still, it's not long enough to, but still, it's still, but basically, it's still enough, I should say, to create the impact that it did. But it's not long enough from a story standpoint to hold what sounds like a 70-minute, 80-minute movie. It doesn't seem like it's long enough to hold that. So many of us can understand and accept the expansion on Batgirl, on Barbara Gordon's story arc before the incident with the Joker. We can understand and accept that. I can understand how people feel about this being added in, this sex scene being added in, even though the sex takes place off screen. Basically, a lot of people are not happy about it. Some people during the panel on which the movie was shown, Jeremy Conrad, who's already apologized for his actions, said this during the questionnaire. Because how you do Q&As and all that. Well, he said this. Let's see. Trying to find it. He said this. He said, quote, "You have talked about how you wanted to give Barbara more story. Okay, we can accept it. And yet the story you gave her ended up being about the men in her life. Why?" Now, the screenwriter, who has the same first name as I do, Brian Azzarello, responded basically, and this is from the Hollywood Reporter, by calling Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, stronger than the men in her life in the story. Now, Jeremy responded by saying she controls the men in her life. Not Jeremy, but Brian Azzarello says she controls the men in her life in this story. And then Jeremy, I guess, responded by shouting out, she was strong by using quote-unquote sex. And then he walked away from the mic, and then Azzarello got a little, hot-headed, I guess, and challenged Jeremy to repeat that again, by saying, "Want to say that again?" And then, of course, he said something I'm not going to say. Now, Bruce Timm seemed a little bit more calm, reserved in this. He said that it's complicated. And Azzarello says she's not pining over Bruce at all. She's pining over the violence. Now, Bruce Timm added in by saying that he actually liked that in the opening story, both Batman and Batgirl make a series of mistakes, and then it kind of escalates because Batman kind of overreacts, and then she overreacts, and it's a very human thing. So basically, I'm not going to say any more because it might spoil things. But then again, you've probably, if you've seen it or read this stuff already, you probably know. But Tim just goes on to say that Batman's more of a fault in the first half of the story. He overreacts by taking Barbara off the case. Doesn't communicate with her after the sexual encounter. So, but he does do something. I will say this. He says that it harkens back to the Adam West show. That it's there in the Adam West show. You kind of see a subtle, if not indication, that there's some kind of attraction there. Now, again, we can all understand that when something like a comic book story or a graphic novel or even a video game gets adapted into a movie, that we have to expect there's going to be some new material, some new original material added in down the line. We need to expect that. We're not going to always get a straight up adaptation of something. It's like with Sonic the Hedgehog. If a movie studio decided, oh, let's do the Countdown to Chaos adaptation for a movie, basically of the Soft Redcon reboot from 252 to 256. You wouldn't just get a straight up adaptation of that. You'd probably have some new stuff added in, because when you read the comics, especially in graphic novel form, it's, even though it's four or five issues, or 5 issues, it's not that long in a sense that it's going to warrant a 70-minute movie. Instead, you're going to have to add in things that you wouldn't expect. You take a look at the Dark Knight Returns. Yeah, it's a straight up adaptation of the Dark Knight Returns graphic novel, but you can also tell they added some things in that normally wasn't there before. They basically had some free reign to add in things, take out things. We have to expect that. So with something like the controversial sex scene, which, like I said, it takes place off screen, I think we need to expect something like that to happen, especially if we're hoping a movie, an adaptation of a graphic novel like The Killing Joke, is going to warrant itself or earn itself an R rating. So, again, I can understand where some people feel that it was unnecessary, because one thing they do say, and I do agree with this, is that Bruce and Barbara, Batman and Batgirl, have more of a father-daughter relationship. You could see that throughout the entire history at times, even though, yes, when it comes to the Adam West one, and I think it was even indicated in Batman Beyond, that there is something there, even though despite the age difference. So I can understand some people's frustration when they say, why would you basically disrupt what is mainly a father-daughter relationship? I don't get it. And turn it into something that it's not. And I think some of the people have to understand that if you look at the Adam West show, like Bruce Timm pointed out, and you kind of look at Batman Beyond and kind of watch that series, and you kind of look here and there, that there are hints that previous writers of Batman in different mediums, either it's animation or the comics or even the 1960s, when you have a female Batman, when you have a female Bat character opposite of the Batman, of course you're going to want to play off maybe there might be something there between them. So I can understand how some people feel. They feel it's unnecessary, that you're just disrupting the status quo of the father-daughter relationship or understanding between the two, and the fact that you're basically throwing her essential love interest, Nightwing, Dick Grayson, to the side because of this. I think what some people have to understand, and let me point this out by showing this to you. You see what it says here? It says DC Comics Multiverse. I think that's what some people who argue this, and have a right to their arguments, don't get me wrong, don't realize is this is part of a multiverse. It basically that basically um, the Killing Joke is just another part of another multiverse, another universe, alternate universe in the DC Comics lore and in the Batman lore. So this is just like another alternate universe. Maybe in this universe she never had anything going with Dick Grayson, Robin, aka Nightwing. Maybe she never did. And I think that's what some people have to understand, is this is a multiverse story. It's not all in the same continuity. You take a look at Justice League Gods and Monsters. Is that in the same continuity? Is that in the same universe? No, it's a multiverse story. It's another world, another place story. And that's what this one is. That's what the Killing Joke has been. I mean, why do you think they never really referenced the Killing Joke or anything related to it? Why do you think they never adapted it or attempted to adapt it in the animated series, or even do a movie, that takes place in the continuity of the animated series that focuses on that? Why do you think they never did that? Because it's another universe, another alternate universe. That's why when I look at the toys like the Harley Quinn there, or the Batman v Superman figures, or the Batman Dark Knight Returns 30th anniversary figures, why do you think it says multiverse on there? Because it's different universes. It's not the same universe. It's not the same continuity. And that's the thing, about DC, about the DC animated universe, that I think a lot of people like when it comes to movie and television form, is that nothing takes place within the same universe unless they wanted to. So, and sometimes that's what, like I said, that's what these present. They don't take place inside the same universe. Does Dark Knight Return take place in the same universe as Justice League War, Son of Batman, um, Justice League Dawn of Atlantis, Batman and Robin, Batman Bad Blood, Justice League versus Teen Titans? Does it take place in those continuities and universe? No. Does Assault on Arkham take place in that universe? No. It's a different story. So it's a different story. So there's I can understand the argument and everything, but they have to understand it's a different universe, a different story. It has nothing to do with the Batman animated series or anything like that. It has nothing to do with Batgirl probably showing up in the new movies as hinted at the end of Batman Bad Blood. There's nothing to say that it's connected whatsoever. It's an adaptation of a story. That's what it is. So, I mean, they announced three upcoming DC animated movies: Justice League Dark, Teen Titans: The Judas Contract, Batman and Harley Quinn, a Bruce Timm original. So do these all connect in the same universe? Probably not. But that's the whole point. That's the whole point. But again, that's the whole point. That's what the Killing Joke is. It's another universe, another alternate time. So again, yes, I can understand people not being happy, with the whole Batman, with the whole Batgirl, Batman, Barbara Gordon, Bruce Wayne sex scene, in which the sex takes place off screen, even though it's implied that it's going to happen right then and there when she takes off her freaking top. The point is, people have to realize it's another universe, another time. Yes, again, I can see from their status point that it disrupts that father-daughter relationship between the two, or that brother-sister relationship between the two. I get that. I understand that. But again, it's another time, another place. Now, was it necessary to be added into the whole additional, Barbara Gordon expansion story for the movie? Probably not. But again, I can understand how some people feel. And there are going to be some people that say, hey, look, it's not, the sex doesn't take place on screen. They're going to point out it doesn't take place on screen. It takes place off screen. Yes, it's implied. Yes, there's a kiss that happens. Yes, she takes off her top. But we don't see anything after that. It's implied. So, again, I can I can kind of see it from both ends. I can see why people don't like it, and why some people will be like, "Hey, look, nothing really. Yes, it happens, but we don't see anything." So anyway, to me, I'm all right with it, honestly. It's because, again, I look at it this way: it takes place off screen. Yes, it's implied, but I also look at it as being part of the another universe, another time alternative. I look at it as being part of the multiverse. As basically, the Killing Joke is just another part. It's just a part of another Batman alternate universe. So that's the way I look at it, and I think that's how some people need to look at it. So let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. But again, in my opinion, I understand how some people feel it's not necessary. I mean, before I go, one lady said, they actually asked one lady, I actually got one lady to comment this. One lady told Heat Vision, which is part of the Hollywood Reporter, she said, quote, "It's totally out of character for both of them." And this was 20 minutes, and this was outside Ballroom 20, Ballroom 20 minutes before the screening on Friday. And she goes on to say, and I quote, "They're supposed to have a father-daughter relationship, just like I talked about." But again, and again, I can understand where they're coming from with that. But I also can understand it's another time, it's an alternate universe. It's not the same continuity as Batman the Animated Series. Yes, it's drawn and almost to look identical to it in some ways. Drawn and animated to look identical in some ways, but it's not the same universe. It's a different universe. It's a different reality. So, I mean, on Facebook, in one of the comic book groups on Facebook, they put an image of Batman literally crying as the Joker in another universe, another alternate universe, was mutilating and turning Batgirl, Barbara, and Robin, I would guess Dick Grayson, into basically hamburger, making them unrecognizable, mutilating them, if you will. So again, it's all basically multi-universe. You got to look at it from a multi-universe perspective. Yes, I agree. It is out of character, but it's another universe, another timeline, another reality. And I think that's what we got to look at. So, again, I can see it from both ends. I can see that some people feel it's okay because, the sex doesn't take place on screen. It's implied that it takes place off screen. And some might even say, like I do, it's another universe, another timeline, another reality. Let's leave it at that. Because, again, like I said earlier, it's the Killing Joke reference or even indicated to take place or probably going to take place in the Batman animated universe? No. Is it connected to all the movies that I've mentioned? No. It's the same way with Dark Knight Returns and Assault on Arkham and Justice League Gods and Monsters. Are they all connected to the same universe and continuity as Justice League War, Batman and Robin, Son of Batman, Justice League Throne of Atlantis, Justice League vs. Teen Titans, Batman Bad Blood? Is it all connected to that? No, it's not. So, to me, I look at it this way. I can understand it from both ends, but I also look at it like this. It's basically part of the DC multi-universe. It's another universe, another reality, and I think we should leave it at that. So, let me know what you guys think, though. My thoughts about that down below. Comment if you like. I'll probably send this to Brian Azzarello and let him see what he thinks. And I will talk to you all later. God bless. Take care. I am out. And enjoy the rest of Comic-Con for those of you that are attending.